All right, Buff Nation, what is going on? We already got a ton of people in the house. I'm sorry I'm tardy. It is my fault. It is not either of these gentlemen's faults, which is great. Y'all be sure to hit the like on the way in. Let me know your thoughts. Who's watching? And man, I am honored to have two of some of my favorite guests on here. We got Laurence Collins, our Belleville, Michigan, recruiting expert in the state of Michigan. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Hanging in there.
Man, I'm pumped to have you on, Laurence. It's been too long, and man, we got my good friend. Some might call him the Connor Stallions of the Coach Prime, agenda. That's my good friend Rawhide Media for you. How are you doing?
What's up? What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
All right.
We're doing great. Well, pumped to have this round table going on. Everybody in the chat, we'll see how this whole thing goes. But we're just gonna start talking with Laurence in here, man. We got a lot to talk about. Michigan recruiting. Where do you want to take this from? Do you want to talk about Dante Moore? Do you want to talk about, man, are more Michigan guys coming to Colorado? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, we can start there with Dante Moore. So I'm sure everyone is aware. If you're not, there has been mention out there that Chip Kelly will not be the head coach at UCLA at season's end. So it's likely that's going to come with a lot of moving parts. Where is Chip Kelly going to go from there? And the players that are on this roster are, especially underclassmen, are going to be up for grabs. And we all know that Dante Moore is a 5-star freshman quarterback. Been in and out the lineup, has been a little bit inconsistent, but yet still is a hot commodity for a lot of schools out there. So he's definitely going to garner some attention in a transfer portal if he decides to hit the portal, which I think is going to be the likely scenario if Chip Kelly is removed from as the head coach of UCLA. So we'll see. Early favorites to land Dante Moore would be Oregon because he initially committed to Oregon, and I would throw in Arizona State because he committed to Oregon because Dillingham was the offensive coordinator, and that's why he decommitted and went to UCLA because Dillingham took the job at Arizona State. So, yeah, we could say that Arizona State has a Jaden Rashada at quarterback, but he's still unproven, just as unproven as Dante Moore at this point.
I'll take Dante Moore.
Why not bring in another quarterback and have healthy competition? That's a program that's looking to extend anyway. So you want to get your hands on as many good players as you can. So, you can't rule them out. And, of course, also can't rule out the possibility of one of the hometown being here in Michigan, also looking to retain Dante Moore and bring him back home. I know his mom posts a lot about the dreadful travel, trying to see him play way out in California as it is right now. So why not bring him back home? Michigan State, even Michigan for that matter, they're going to be looking for a quarterback to eventually succeed J.J. McCarthy, who I think is coming back for his senior season next year, but you always want to have that, succession plan in place going forward. So it's going to be interesting to see when and if he does hit the portal, when and if Chip Kelly gets fired, how many moving pieces are going to happen as a result of those moves, of that primary move with Chip Kelly being fired. What's going to happen as a result? We'll see you go after some of those offensive linemen that UCLA has
we better
who wreaked havoc in that game. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens there and how it affects across the country for that matter. Because, Boise State, a lot of people say Chip Kelly could just go over to Boise State and become their head coach and run that kind of offense, pick up where he left off. There's even been some rumbling of him potentially having mutual interest in a Texas A&M job. I don't think that he'll go down to Texas A&M. I don't think Texas A&M will be the first on their list, but who knows? So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens as a result of that domino falling, the recruits, and where Chip Kelly would go thereafter. Secondly, we can talk about the Michigan recruits and their ties to CU. So we can start with Nick Marsh, 4-star receiver out of River Rouge. 6'3", 200-pound, current commit to Michigan State University. So he has not officially decommitted from Michigan State University as of yet. And his mother is very adamant that he is still a Michigan State University commit as of today. She's very adamant. She's a big fan of the school, despite what's going on and transpired with the head coach.
What's that? What's been going on the last 10 years there?
Yeah, you can make that argument. She's still very avid Michigan State University supporter. They are really close with the receiver coach there, Courtney Hawkins, who also played at Michigan State, played in the NFL, and is responsible for developing a lot of the good time, big time receivers they've had pass through that program in the last 5 or 6 years or so, namely Keon Coleman. So they're locked in with Courtney Hawkins, and at least what she says and has said as recently as this week is they're playing the wait and see approach to see who they're going to hire as their head coach and whether or not they're going to retain Courtney Hawkins as the receiver coach. Determine their final destination and whether or not they're going to maintain that commitment or entertain other offers. Now, we do know that official visit to Colorado is locked in. December 13th through the 15th. They're going to have some other recruits on campus at that time as well. So that could be very well Coach Prime's chance to, flip Nick Marsh and close the deal and get him to commit to Colorado. I do believe that Nick Marsh is going to be an early graduate, so I think he's going to finish school in the winter. So whoever does retain his services, get him on campus early. That seems like it's going to be the likely scenario going forward. So we'll see what happens with that. But, I will say this, that Colorado is in the best place they can potentially be to flip him. I'm not saying it's a lot. It's a guarantee, but they're in the best place that they could potentially be to flip him. And what Coach Prime preaches at his, recruiting visits with the parents, he locks in on the parents and sells them on the whole environment, the experience, the education, the molding of that football player to a man. And that's what the mom is going to want to see more so than whether or not he's going to play in NIL and, chasing the bag and everything like that. Because she did mention on Nick Marsh's initial visit that it was cool. She saw the celebrities and everything like that, but she didn't really get to experience the school, the day-to-day environment that Nick Marsh will be in as a CU student. So she does want to see what that's going to be like on this official visit coming up in December. So that's going to be huge to see, if they can close and get him to officially flip.
Man, well, really exciting stuff. I know, Rawhide, you've been very patient, but I want to know your thoughts on some of these things that Laurence just broke down. And if you got any more questions regarding what is going on right now with CU recruiting in the state of Michigan.
All right. I'd first like to ask Laurence about what do you think is going to be their strategy as far as Colorado and attacking position groups? I've been one to say that I would much rather them just be from the wide receiver position, high school heavy. But how do you see them attacking different position groups in respect to high school recruiting and transfer portal?
So I don't think they're going to tremendously deviate from the 40-40-20 model that they established last year and more recent years at JSU. I think they're going to be pretty close to that model again. Maybe not 40-40-20, but, it's going to be a little bit off from those numbers, but I don't think they're going to tremendously deviate from that model, meaning that they're going to go heavy on high school recruits and less so on the transfer portal. I think that the primary goal is going to have the number one transfer portal class yet again, but yet stay in that top 20 to top 25 range in the high school class. So and hit pretty much the residual from whatever they don't, hit on the transfer portal and have those developmental pieces that they can build on, 3 or 4 years out. So I think that's going to be the model going forward. You're going to want to get your heavy hitters, a few more heavy hitters from the high school ranks than they did last season, because you're going to have, you had a whole year now to recruit those high school guys. So I think they're still going to target some of those heavy hitters like a Jordan Seaton and probably close with him. Some of the 5-star athletes we've heard out there like a Cam Coleman, they're still going to try to get some of those high school 5-star players, but I still think they're going to be more so reliant on the players they can gain from the transfer portal and the JUCO ranks until they get to a point where they can routinely get those top 10 high school classes, and I just don't think they're there right
I
yet.
got you. Yeah, I got you. Okay. All right. Yeah, the only reason why I asked that is that, I like, I like the building up of a program or of a team. And I worry that what I'm kind of worried about, I think Shedeur Sanders covers up a lot of deficiencies on the team. But just like any great quarterback does, it doesn't matter if it's, Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, whoever the case may be, they cover up a few deficiencies. And I guess what I'm worried about is that, are they going to have the development there, right, from other positions to complete out the team when Shedeur leaves? You see what I'm saying? So
yeah. I
was wondering how they're really, even if I don't even know if they're even looking that far out, but I think
you have to look that far out because that's
right
around the corner, especially now, because you might as well say this is the end of the season. Shedeur comes back, he's going to have 1 year to play. So you have to have a succession plan in place, just like I threw out Michigan. They have to have a succession plan in place for JJ McCarthy. Like, you need to know who you want to be the starting quarterback after JJ McCarthy leaves after next season as well, and have that locked into place as soon as you can, preferably this offseason. So I would say, they're off to a good start with the commitment of Antoine Hill, but I wouldn't say that's going to be the end game. So, as we know, Bryce Underwood dropped his top 7 earlier this week, which included CU. And an update from that top 7, because there's been some, I think, either Rivals or On3 dropped like a tier ranking of those top 7, like who's contenders, who's like in the middle of the pack, and who's pretenders. And they had LSU and Michigan as the 2 contending teams. So I would say that's, if we were to say Bryce Underwood commit tomorrow, that would be accurate, that it would be between Michigan and LSU today and tomorrow. However, I will also give the caveat that is subject to change, as it was when the call was made to CU that Bryce Underwood wanted to come on campus for a visit, because they were not on the radar until that phone call and that conversation happened between Bryce Underwood and Coach Prime. So with that being said, I would say CU is like a wild card, yet still to get Bryce Underwood to commit, despite them having an Antoine Hill commit at quarterback, despite Michigan having Carter Smith commit, 4-star quarterback out of Florida this week. They're still in it. And, Penn State even had a commitment at quarterback. Kritza, I believe he was also –
the dude from Colorado, right?
Here in Boulder. At Fairfield,
yeah. Committed to Penn State, but, Penn State is on Bryce Underwood's list as well. So there was an interview, I want to say a day or two ago, with Bryce Underwood's father. And they asked him about that, like, is Michigan still on the list with this Carter Smith commitment? So he pretty much said they called us and let us know that Carter Smith will be committing and that we're still number one. And he also threw the caveat that we're not ducking the smoke regardless. So we're going to go where we want to go no matter who commits at quarterback. So that tells me that CU definitely has a chance at getting Underwood. It's just a matter of them showing that attention and coming in and stealing them from the momentum that LSU and Michigan has right now. Because he did, in that same interview, Bryce Underwood's father did mention that they are planning to be at the Michigan versus Ohio State game in Ann Arbor in about 9 days. They're planning to be on the field at that game. And I think Michigan is going to try to close the deal and get him to commit shortly thereafter. His commitment date is going to be January 6th. He's not coming off that, but they're going to try to lock him in by getting him in that atmosphere, because it is crazy when Michigan plays Ohio State, particularly when they play them here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So what I hope to happen is that when Nick Marsh comes to see you on his official visit, that he brings Bryce Underwood with him. because that would sort of sway the momentum back to CU and kind of, jump them. That visit is going to happen after the Michigan Ohio State game. So, if they want them, they got to get him back on campus, in my opinion. Now, granted, his commitment date is January 6th, 2024, and he's a class of 25. So you technically will have another year to work on him if you still want him. But I would just, shoot right now and try to lock him in and get him up there with Nick Marsh. That would close the deal. That would sort of make you're playing double jeopardy there and getting both of them, locked in and say, hey, this is what you'll have if you come up here with more, with the addition of Brandon Davis Swain as well, who's also a Michigan kid. So hopefully they're watching this and, taking notes and paying attention. And hopefully, I'm just regurgitating something that's already in the works. We don't know, but a lot of moving pieces from the recruits here in Michigan, particularly with Nick Marsh and Bryce Underwood, what's to come. We'll see.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's going to be exciting stuff. I think over the next month, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. There's going to be a lot of coaches going to new places. I guess before we talk about kind of this current team, what we can do coming up the next couple weeks. I want to hear y'all's thoughts right now. See if I don't think I've heard your thoughts from this specifically, Laurence. Rawhide and I have talked about this a bunch, but do you foresee any coaching changes right now, or some guys that you would like CU to target to bring in for OC or offensive line coach? Anything like that? What are your thoughts on Chip Kelly? I mean, what happens to Chip Kelly? All of that. Let me know.
I would be curious to know when and if Chip Kelly is let go from UCLA. What does he want to do? We can only assume if he, even wants to coach after that. He's had a, pretty extensive coaching career. So does he want to take a year off? Sometimes they want to go in the booth and to call games for a year and relax, and he may get comfortable doing that, the rest of his time. So I want to know where his mind is before I say whether or not I want him on staff, because he may be done with it. Like, okay, I've had my run. It's time for the next generation to have a hand at this thing. So, but if he does still desire to coach, I would love for him, to be one of those guys to come in and replace Sean Lewis as offense coordinator. So, why not? I've heard some rumblings that he's, maybe not the best recruiter. He hasn't really had top classes at UCLA. I mean, honestly, he lucked up. He lucked up in getting Dante Moore, but as a strictly play caller, he was very innovative, with his time at Oregon, and even to an extent at UCLA. So for play calling duties, I think he can be creative and definitely be an asset to the CU staff if that was a desire and there was mutual interest, going back and forth with him and Coach Prime. I do know there's some mutual respect there. So yeah, that would be a name for offense coordinator. I don't know whose name out there for us at offense coordinator that I would like to see. I can only
Leftwich has been thrown around a bunch.
Yeah, Ryan Leftwich, sure. I mean, he's been on campus. He was on campus when Antoine Hill was on his visit, and some say that he was linked to Antoine Hill committing. So at this point, all I can say before I speculate and give my preferences for position changes and coordinator changes, there needs to be change. I think we can all agree on that there needs to be and there will be change from 23 going to 24. So all I can say is that I hope that change is solidified and in time enough so that the top recruits that are still contemplating whether or not to come to CU, that they have insurance that at least their position coaches are going to be this person, that person. And that assurance is there. Whenever they decide to make these changes official, I mean, it's kind of arbitrary at this point. But as long as the recruits that they're trying to get to come to CU next year and beyond, they know the real deal. That's all I can hope for, and that gonna be an improvement at those particular positions, versus what we saw this season.
Bet. Well, I don't know, Dave. You want me to regurgitate how I feel about it? I don't have anything that sounds great and everybody can get hyped up on. I'll continue to say that I want what's his name, Brent Bartolone, the wide receiver coach. I want him to be promoted to the OC. Now, if you ask me why, it's because it's clear that him and Shedeur Sanders has a relationship. He also knows exactly what Coach Prime wants. And I'm very, very big on continuity. All right.
Yes.
I think I talked about earlier about how I don't know if you watch NFL or not, you've noticed that Baltimore Ravens offense has become even better throughout the season because they're getting more familiar with the system.
Yep.
That's
so
true.
I'm real big on continuity. You know what I'm saying, guys? And with a guy like Shedeur Sanders, Brent Bartolone doesn't necessarily, because I can understand the argument against that, saying that you want somebody proven. I get all that. That's 100% facts about that. But with a guy like Shedeur Sanders and how I think he's the second best quarterback, right, in college football today, the shortcomings that a Brent Bartolone may have, he can help cover a lot of those deficiencies up, right? I mean, let's be honest about it. Brent Favre don't need a OC. Brent Favre, you know what I'm saying? He don't need that. And I think Shedeur Sanders is at this point where he needs somebody that he trusts at the OC position. So I enjoy that. In addition to that, the ancillary pieces, meaning that Brent Bartolone understands Coach Prime, how he runs his program. Because let's be honest, guys, a lot of people are traditionalists, and how he run the cameras and all that rubs some people wrong. But you don't really have to contend with that issue with Brent Bartolone, because he's been there for a few years. You see what I'm saying? So that you don't have that pushback. So I just think he would be an excellent, especially for next year, and also being able to grow into the years after Shedeur is gone. And the last piece on that is that he's a young guy. He's a college football player, and he knows the grind of recruiting. And I think, when you get, the Chip Kellys, or you get the Byron Leftwich's, guys that's really foundational in NFL style. I mean, let's be honest. We all know that recruiting is is not a good. Well, they don't view it as a positive from a coach's standpoint in college football. So I just like him. I think he'll be fiery. You know what I'm saying, as far as the grind goes. And that's why I like Brent Bartolone. But granted, it ain't flashy. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Sometimes the best moves aren't flashy,
That's true.
and I just want to see a little bit more balance on offense. I want to see some adjustments made. I think Pat Shurmur's doing a decent job right now, filling in on a part-time basis, I guess. And I think we took some steps as an offense this past week, and I think we should do better this week against Washington State. But, I want a guy that's coming in here that has a little bit more proven of a track record with play calling, with their offense. I think just after this experiment, whatever, clearly gone wrong, let's just not be buying out any G5 head coaches just this cycle, since we did that this last time. Let's just not do that this next time. Just get an adult in the room that can, again, we got a lot of questions on why this offense went the way it was. Maybe we'll get some of those answers on the Coach Prime Amazon documentary. That will be great, but we'll just have to see. I just want everybody to be on the same page. Like you said, Rawhide. But let's talk a little bit about this. I think we're all kind of feeling decently about this matchup tomorrow night against Wazoo.
Yep.
But I want to hear from y'all. This has kind of been a little bit of a debate on Twitter, and I think this would be fun to hear y'all's opinions on. We'll start with you, Rawhide. If we get that fifth win, man, Is this team going bowling? Should we
Yes.
be ashamed of going bowling? Should we
No.
be embarrassed? Give it to me, man. What do you want to see?
No. Hey, get this 5th win. I think they're going bowling. Now, granted, I think what I end up happening is that if they don't get 6, see if they get 6, I think that justifies the people who makes decisions who's going to play in your bowl. Meaning that I guess that with 6 wins, I'm going to use Peach Bowl because they've came up before. The Peach Bowl can justify. I want Colorado. You see what I'm saying? They can't snatch you with 5. So with 5, what you're going to do is kind of fill in the slots that ain't, you know what I'm saying, that hadn't been filled, in my true opinion. You know what I'm saying? If y'all go back, look, generally that's what happens. You fill the slots that ain't filled. But with 6, you get, I think people would be more comfortable, you know what I'm saying? The administration, whoever's running the bowls would be okay with saying, look, I know they 6-6, and I look past an 8 win team, but we want to be able to pull because I know they're gonna draw a lot of eyeballs.
Yep.
Now, second, 5 wins. Let's just talk about the straight 5 wins. Forget the bowls. 5 wins. And you've heard me say before, that would have matched the max amount of games the Colorado Buffaloes has won since 2005. You kick out the anomaly in 2016 year.
Yeah. Yep.
So how is that a failure? You see what I'm saying? That's a success. To me, that's an extreme success. I even said one time, if he had won 7 games, I better build a statue of the AD. Bro, think about that, man. They have been horrid for 20 years.
That's true.
And even though how bad the season looks, it's still with 5 wins, guys. He's matching. I think that's lost a lot of times. You know, when you talk about Kansas, you know, and I talk about Kansas all the time. When you talk about Kansas, no one and their mama think Kansas is worth 2 pennies, right? But up until last year, what the coach did at Kansas last year was just like everybody and their mama talking about, like, oh my God, why? Because they are historically bad. So it ain't just the 1-11, bro. It's the history behind the bad. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go that long, but that's just kind of how I feel.
No, that was good. And when you capitalize, when you take those historically bad teams and even make them mid or average, those top teams come calling for you. And that's what's happening at Michigan State. They're looking at coaches and programs who have coaches that are 6 or 7 win teams at historically floor mats. So they're looking at Mike Elko out at Duke, for example. Duke is a basketball team. Like, they suck at football, but he have them contending. So he's probably going to get a better job this offseason, this coaching cycle.
Yeah.
But as far as what I expect from CU and versus Washington State tomorrow night, it is going to be an eerie atmosphere. A lot of people says Pullman is very eerie to play and weird to play in. If they can just get past that and just play football, the players on the field, player for player, just examining Washington State's roster, I do think CU has a good chance to go in there and pull out the win. It's going to take a better effort from the defense because Washington State is going to put up points. They're going to match CU, I believe, score for score. So I would like the defense to revert back to what we saw 2 games ago and 3 games ago, giving up the yardage, but still creating turnovers so that the offense can capitalize on those turnovers. So yeah, we know as far as just shutting down the run and holding the team to 40 or 50 yards rushing the entire game, even though Washington State can't run the ball either, they're probably going to have their best day running because they're playing CU's defense. But if we can still capitalize and create turnovers, whether it be the run game or the pass game, I think that's going to excel and lead CU to a victory, an upset on the road, if you will. So that's what I'm looking for. I think the offense is going to do their thing like they did this past week against Arizona, but I think the deciding factor is going to be CU's defense forcing multiple turnovers against Washington State and pulling out the victory at the end of the game.
You heard it here. I'm going to give a bold prediction. This is the time we get the run game right. We run for over 150 yards. I know we ran for more against USC, but I think that would be very substantial. Again, we're kind of going against a line that is it's kind of our size, you know? So I think we should be able to have some success. Pat Shurmur, co-OC, co-offensive line coach right now. We've seen improvement with the O-line since he's been working more with the group. So I am expecting to see another jump. I'm expecting to see, maybe we go from a B. I gave Pat Shurmur a B, or like a B plus. Maybe we get out to a B plus, A minus territory in terms of the scheme, the play calls, and hopefully there are no dirt patches. I don't want us kicking field goals in any dirt patches. No. Let's make sure this game is not coming down to special teams needing to make a play. Hell no.
That would be ideal for it not to come down to special teams, and just, if we do create turnovers, we turn those into touchdowns and not, settle for 3 field goals. So we have to make a decision on who we want to kick the field goal. If we want to stick with Automata or, give Feely a chance. Hopefully it doesn't even come down to that we just go in there and get the win. And, Washington State doesn't play their best game. They play a game that they've been playing in the latter half of the season and not the beginning portion of the season against CU tomorrow night. So let's see, because I think what's going to happen is this game is going to determine the momentum and the mood for them going to Utah. If they go into Pullman and they get blown out, or even if they lose a close game, they're not going to have confidence to go to Utah and win that last game on the road. So I think this game is equally important to boost confidence for the last game of the season and try to get that 6th win on the year.
And no doubt.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you on that, Laurence, that they need this victory. And I honestly, I'm already giving them the victory. They were plus 160. I put it on it.
Oh,
I got
let's
them
go.
winning.
Hey, ESPN Bet has a $200 bonus bet right now on ESPN Bets, their betting platform. I was going to talk about that tomorrow, but definitely use some of those bonus bets on CU Moneyline tomorrow night, baby.
Hey, I'm on it, bro. I got them winning, bro. Got them winning, man. You know what I'm saying? So I got them with my heart and my pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? Those of you who don't know what a pocketbook is, that's a wallet. And
Can you tell me what a floppy disk is, Rawhide?
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely familiar with a floppy disk and a pocketbook.
There you go, man. The 3.5 or the what was the other, the bigger one? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm 10 toes down on this game. I'm 10 toes down, but I have been wrong. Also.
Man, we're still up though. But hey, I think all 3 of us, we might hit some bets if CU can win these next 3. You know what I'm saying? Get to that 7th win. We're all gonna have a little bit of extra money in our pocket. Do you have a 7+ win bet going on, Laurence? I can't remember.
I don't have a 7+ win bet, but I'll tell you something funny. So at the beginning, because I didn't really mess with betting apps prior to this season or anything like that. So I did get the under 3.5 wins, the line to start the year. So I did make money off of that. But I was just playing around with apps, and I think I went to DraftKings, and this at the time they were 3-0. So I said, I think DraftKings had a bet that was plus 6.5, and I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was like they're not gonna win 6 or whatever it was. I thought it was opposite. So I'm like, I'm gonna take this. They're 3-0, and after I placed the bet, I realized it was the wrong thing. Like, oh shit, this means that they're not gonna even win. They're not gonna win 6.5 games. So they're sitting at 3-0, and I'm like, oh man, I'm screwed. I'm in trouble now. They're 3-0. They're going to win 6.5 games, and then
man, you're hedging it, man. I love it.
And then the rest of the season played out. And I'm like, you know what? I may hit on this bet that I and I actually won last week. And it was a mistake. I didn't mean to bet the 6.5, the plus 6.5, but I wanted to win in that anyway. So that's the closest I had to that +7, that plus 6.5 that I mistakenly bet on DraftKings because I didn't know what I was doing, just playing around with the application. But I did win that bet. Unfortunately, I didn't want to win that bet. That's why I was so disappointed. I'm like, I don't want to win this. I think they're going to win maybe 7 or 8 games at least because they were 3-0. But yeah, different story now. But you know, at the very least, whatever win total they win up would be the bottom in, you know, future seasons going forward. So we can say, CU will be able to say, even if they only finish with 4 wins or 5 wins or whatever the case may be, that's going to be the bottom going forward. Yeah. So now the goal is going to be 8 or 9 wins going forward, and then, you know, that's how programs get built. They, you know, you have to start from somewhere. So even though they lost, you know, went on a losing streak, and they were looking like they were going to win many more games than they did win, I still think that the season overall was a success compared to last year, and it's definitely something to build on going forward.
It's an A grade.
I want to give it. So I want to give it an A grade. I want to give it an A grade. I did see you, both of you two. I wanted to hop in on that show.
Well, now's your chance.
I wouldn't say it's an A grade.
Put us in detention, man. Tell us why we're wrong.
So the reason why I wouldn't say it's an A grade because the expectation was set by Coach Prime to win and win now. So he hasn't met his own expectation, and he would say that, you know, every time he's interviewed that, you know, I apologize because I felt my own expectation. He didn't put a number to quantify it, but he did have expectation to win and win now. So for that reason, I wouldn't say it's an A grade because they are, even with the head coach saying, you know, they've disappointed. They've lost some games that they felt they should have won. Yeah. So for that reason, I wouldn't give them an A. I'll give them a B-, maybe a C for that reason alone, because they lost games that they will admittedly tell you that they should have won had they played up to their potential.
Oh, man.
But a B- or a C is still better than what was on the field all last year, including the coaching staff last year, even despite us having to make a change at offensive coordinator and, you know, offensive line. That's still better than last season. But I would not give it an A because of the expectations that the head coach set for the program this year.
Hey, Laurence,
Laurence, I'm back to Tyler in here saying that, nah, man.
I was watching that show with Rawhide. I was watching that show with Dave Talk Bus, and I was like, no, they do not get an A.
now, Lord, how am I a hater and you ain't by saying that?
I didn't say you were a hater. I was just saying.
No, I know you did.
Yeah, Rob, you're a Connor Stallion, so you should be the one giving the C.
But I did hop in the comments that show and said an A. I think I asked the question like, Dave, an A? Like, what were the expectations? So only because they set the expectation of winning and winning now would I give it a lower grade, a B- or a C. Now, if they didn't set that expectation, then yeah, they would get a higher grade. But the expectation was set when they were 3-0. Like, we're gonna just, you know.
Damn. So you're moving the goalposts based on that 3-0 start.
Not only the 3-0 start, but the expectation of winning and winning now, which came from the mouth of the head coach, Coach Prime.
Laurence Collins, we had a safety starting at quarterback 3 seasons ago.
That's true. And this team will not revert back to that team as long as the head coach is Coach Prime. So you can be assured that you won't have to worry about those things anymore. You won't have to worry about a 55-inch monitor at the top of Folsom Field going forward either. They're going to replace that with a real digital monitor, and hopefully they get a new PA announcer to hype the crowd up throughout the entire game. So it's a better experience as well. But
I'll tell you this, Laurence. I'll tell you this, man. Like this year for Coach Prime, it was set up perfectly because we were so bad and everything was, you know, dead, Mountain West bound, all that. So this was like him getting a test, man, where he already has 80% of the correct answers already filled in, man. And honestly, he just needed to sign his name and do a couple things, get this thing going in the right direction. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. Man, the fact that we're watching, the fact that I can ride the emotional roller coaster every week with this team is night and day different, man, from what happened last year. The man has made me feel alive, and I'm going to give him an A for that.
Okay, Lord.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, Lord. Okay, let me say this first off. Everything you just said, I do understand why you said that. What you said makes sense. Okay, let me just say that off top. But I go into it looking at, man, I ain't gonna give you the test. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying, set you up, give you the test, right? And then 5 questions in, yank that test out and give you a different test. So I'm going to grade you on that original test. Okay, that's where I'm coming from. And I guess where we kind of divert a little bit is that after 8 games or after 9 games, that I think Coach Prime in his statement, just listen to what he said, looking at what they put on the field. I think that his winning wasn't necessarily about actual wins. If you remember when he was talking to the don't,
right?
No, that's not what I'm saying. See, y'all always go way left. That ain't what I'm saying. That ain't what I'm saying. If you go back when he was talking to, I guess it's some boosters or whatever the case may be, a guy specifically asked him, "How many wins will you have?"
I remember that.
His response is that I don't say that. That goes viral, whatever the case may be, right? But then he said this. This is what he said. This is the key. And this is kind of what I base mine on. What we put on the field, you will be happy with. You see what I'm saying? So competing, you know what I'm saying? Looking like the program trending forward, you know what I'm saying? So that, in addition to a lot of I said this word before, ancillary pieces, the most viewed college football team this season with, you got a future Heisman candidate. Actually, you got 2 being in the names and mouths and tips of everybody's tongue in mainstream media. The growth that you have added to college football with some people don't even watch college football, period. Also digging a program out of the grave. Even though Kansas did a similar turnaround, right? No one talked about Kansas, right?
Right.
And obviously so. They don't have Coach Prime, but no one talked about them like they talking about Colorado. So I think all those things, if you add them up, right, I think that's why I gave them an A+ now. I do, trust me, bro. I understand what you're saying, and you ain't wrong. I don't think you're wrong in what you're saying. I get it. Right. I just think when we put everything in its totality, from a program building standpoint, I would have to give them an A+. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
So you're incorporating the off the field as well. I mean, that
yes.
If you incorporate that, then the grade is higher. But I don't think I'll still give them an A because I can't not pay attention to what was on the field. What was on the field is not an A. So
I agree.
If you incorporate the off the field, the revenue generated, the sellouts, every road team, they're probably going to sell out in Pullman. And when would they last, have a sellout game at Washington State in Pullman, Washington? So at UCLA, they never have home sellout games, and that's the Rose Bowl, for goodness sake. So if you incorporate the experience, the trendiness, the buzz, the grade is higher, but I still can't take away the on-field performance or lack thereof in some of the games to give them an overall A. I get it. A to me is a Georgia, one of the top teams that has it all right now, and they don't have it all, not yet. Not to say that they can't get there, and certain teams have a plateau where they'll never get to an A with the entire experience. They may get the field production, but then that coach is going to take that to another school, and all of the production on the field is going to go with it. So I do think they have that potential. Coach Prime has brought that potential for overall A. I just don't think they're there yet this year, and I can't say that they will get an A until they're a perennial powerhouse and having a routine top 5 recruiting class where it's just like a given where someone drops their top 5 or top 3 and top 4, and CU is going to be in each and every athlete, offensive lineman, quarterbacks top 5 as they are right now with the Alabamas, with the Georgias, with the Michigans, with the Florida States of the world. So that's just my definition of what I would give, classify as an A program.
Yeah.
Not only the on-field product.
It's a different scale.
The whole aura. Yeah, it's a different scale. That's fair, Dave.
Scale.
See, this is why you have your channel, Dave.
See, I might grade on more of a pass-fail type of deal here. Maybe that's just what it is.
Maybe I'm overcomplicating. I'm too.
Wish my teacher was Rawhide. I would have graduated with honors.
Exactly. But I'm not more strict professor that you can't just pop in a Scantron with me. You actually have to show your work. So
right. Hey, look, I admitted when we first came on, Laurence, he is his voice in itself beats me out from the intellect stance. So I was lost when I went into it. Bro, I already had that L before I even started. But I would have to say though that if I use those, if I just use the criteria that you used, I would agree with you.
Yeah, the criteria of fans of blue blood college football programs like the University of Michigan, right? Because you're kind of looking at it through that type of lens.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Maybe a little bias in there as well, but yeah, I mean that's what I see in my own backyard each and every day. So, and again, a lot of programs out there don't even have that potential. And I think with Coach Prime at Colorado, they have that potential to get there at a faster rate, much faster rate than other programs that it took those other programs to get to that level. So I definitely think they're ascending and they're on the right track. And we'll see this, this offseason when it starts in a couple of weeks, the names that are going to be signing up to play for Colorado next year. I think they're going to wind up with one of the top classes out there. Definitely, I still think they're going to get the top transfer portal class, but I think even their high school recruiting class is going to be top 20, top 25, which is a far cry from where they are today. I think they're in the 60s right now. So that's going to show that they, have been doing the work to maintain that positive ascension to the top and be one of those blue blood programs going forward.
And no doubt. I think this is a big year for that. Rawhide, were you going to say something?
No. I just bro. Listen, I already knew I was out, man, when he came on. So I keep it real. You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, bro, my man. Hey, let me tell you. So Laurence got that voice, bro. You know what I'm saying? If he said, "Well, you know that if pigs they actually can fly," hey, and I'm listening to Laurence. I'm gonna say, I believe you, bro. You got me. So when you coming in with that type of power, I already lost anyway. So I'm good. Though. I mean, but on a serious note, I mean, I agree with what Laurence is saying from that standpoint. I can't argue with that.
Yeah. It makes sense. But I think I might more move to judging by that kind of criteria more next year.
Yeah,
but I wasn't going to do that this year.
That's fair.
But don't get me wrong. I still get upset, man, when we do dumb things and leave wins on the table. And, we've done that this year. But, man, I want to talk a little bit more about this. If we do go to a bowl game, man, with just 5 wins, is this going to be something in which, like, you see them putting us up still just to get freaking destroyed by a ranked team, like a Peach Bowl or something like that? Do you think they find like something? I think we do have a bowl with the Mountain West, if I remember correctly. CSU is now bowl eligible. I don't know, but I'm not ever going to apologize. I know it might be embarrassing to go with 5 wins, man. I do not care. We haven't won a bowl game since 2004. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't care if we've quote unquote earned it in the eyes of some. We earned it. We earned it. We've suffered long enough. That's my stance. But y'all let me know what you think in the comments too.
I don't think. See, I don't see it as an embarrassment for Colorado if they go to a bowl with 5 and 7. I guess I don't see it that way. I don't think that they'll be playing in a big bowl or anything if they do make it at 5 and 7. So I think they'll have an opportunity to compete. And as you know, I'll parrot what Rob said on his show one time. You know, saying it's more important about the practice time than it is about the actual bowl game. You're saying the additional practice time. So I got to agree with him on that one. Yeah, I don't see it as being embarrassment. But again, I'm judging them from what they have been historically. You see what I'm saying? I know they won 3 in a row. Everybody was high as a kite. You know what I'm saying? Everybody high as a kite. I get it. I understand.
It was amazing.
Hey, even now, y'all saw how. Hey, Dave, you saw how it was after the TCU game. I'm out there doing the typewriter. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it, bro. But in the end, it's kind of where they supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? In the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it'll be a disappointment going to a ball game at 5 or 7 if that is the case. It happens every year. You get, that's been a complaint by some that these bowl games are oversaturated at this point, and you got 5 and 7 teams playing in a Kit Kat Bowl and Duracell Battery Bowl.
Make our own bowl? Why doesn't Coach Congress make his own bowl for this year? Even if we just get to 4 wins, man, we just schedule our own bowl game, man. Imagine how livid the rest of the college football world would be if we just did that.
It would be livid. I already said that's for selfish reasons because I'll be in Vegas around Christmas time. I'm hoping that they play at the Las Vegas Bowl so I can go see them play in person because I will be in Vegas that week.
Put that
so
money down.
That's just for selfish reasons that I want to see them play in the Las Vegas Bowl. And I think that's against an ACC team, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see. Yeah, 5 and 7, 6 and 6. However they can get to a bowl game, that would definitely be an accomplishment at this point of the season. What else are you playing for? So win one of these 2 games and you're there. But, obviously the goal would be to build momentum to take this game at Pullman and, take that into Utah for the last game of the year and pull an upset, something that you can take going into the next season to say, okay, we're at least extending. You don't want to go into the offseason on a decline. I know it's going to be a different year, different players and everything like that. But if you can avoid that, it does make a difference when you ascend at the end of the year versus, decline.
Yeah.
Taking that momentum into next year, even though it's a long time with different players. I think that will make the world of a difference. So that's what I'm looking to see. And, whatever ball they line up in, it really doesn't matter as long as they have aspirations to play in the ball game by getting at least one more victory on the season. But hopefully,
right. I agree.
We need the feeling of winning, man, going into this offseason. We need it. So hopefully we can take care of it. Did you guys see the news about Washington State and Oregon State looking to have an alliance? They're not joining the Mountain West officially, but they're going to have an alliance the next 2 years.
I did see that.
Yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on that whole thing?
I think the judge screwed everybody else in the pack. They shouldn't have been left with that type of power. To me, it was obvious that I know people left, but you haven't officially gone until the end of the season, and I don't think they should allow them to have that much authority over the Pac-12. I don't think so. And in addition to that, what I would like to see to counter that foolishness that they're actually doing, I would like the people who deliberate about the college football playoffs and who actually designate who's a Power 5 and not to officially designate the Pac-12 is not a Power 5 conference. Because then at that point, it's all for naught. Because the only reason they're trying to hold the Pac-12 name is that there's weight that come with the Pac-12. You see what I'm saying? But if you ain't got that weight, you ain't a Power 5. You see what I'm saying? You just Power 5 in name only. So I would love for those guys to come out, you know what I'm saying, whoever it may be, and say, we're going to reevaluate the college football playoffs. It's not a P5 anymore, it's P4, and keep it moving. And watch what they would do then. Watch the type of moves that will be made then. In addition to that, what difference does it make anyway? You still need a media deal.
That's true.
Hey, Apple and whoever else ain't coming for you when you are, if all you're going to be is two former low tier, bottom of the barrel Pac-12 teams, and you add some G5s. You feel what I'm saying? So you basically what you are, you the Mountain West 2.0.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed by that. I think the judge, now if he want to sit there and throw him a bone, because are they going to be able to split the revenue between them two teams? Is that
sure.
what's going to happen? Yeah. So if he threw him a bone and they're going to split the revenue between those two teams, fine. But overall, somebody else. Like if I was an SEC commissioner, Big 10 commissioner, Big 12 commissioner, I'd be like, listen, it ain't a Power 5 no more. It's Power 4 minus the Pac-12, and then watch how they shrivel up over that end. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, I didn't mean to go that long on that. It kind of frustrates me a little bit. It's kind of frustrating though, bro.
I agree, and I think Rawhide that's starting next year is essentially going to be a Power 4. I think the Pac-12 is going to be whatever they decided, or at least this interim plan is going to make them more relevant. So they're not going to be able to compete for a national title, even with the playoff expanding to 12 teams with this makeup that they have, an agreement with the Mountain West. None of them teams are going to be in contention to get one of those 12 playoff spots. So, they're going to have to rework that eventually. But, that's for them to decide. The teams that were smart migrated to other conferences. They went to the Big 12. They went to the Big 10. So, it's for them to, whatever they get, they're just getting crumbs at this point and trying to make with the crumbs that were left on the plate. So they gave them power because they didn't opt to just dissolve the conference altogether. The teams that were left after the Big 12 and Big 10 defections went to the ACC, and they were just left with the crumbs on the plate after everyone abandoned the conference. So I think they should have made that move, chose what power conference to reside in going forward, instead of trying to hang on to the Pac-12, which is no more essentially because they didn't get a deal done. They didn't get a media deal done. So however they decide to divvy up the money that's left over, I mean, it's pennies compared to what they would have made joining one of the now going to be power conferences going forward. So that's left up to those those presidents and ADs to sort out in years to come. But yeah, it's like too little too late. So I'm not even concerned about what power they're going to have and how they're going to reign supreme over the teams in the Mountain West with this agreement, because all of those teams are going to be relevant in the grand scheme of things when it comes to.
But
attention.
Right. They got, as of now, they got it, the conference champs in the Power 5, right? I think it's next year, right? Next year, it's 12, it's the next year and the next year, right? And then they go into a new agreement.
Yeah.
But all they got to do, one of those two teams will be in the college football playoffs, because how the stipulations is set up, because they're hanging on to the name of the Power 5. I mean, the P5, right? In the
Pac-12 name.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, they need to immediately, as soon as that judge said that, the committee should immediately went in and said, slice that. We cut it to the Power 4. Because it's BS, bro. They could go 6-6 and make it to the college football playoffs. How is set up?
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but I don't think that'll be the case for long. They'll find a way to
you're right. Yeah,
get out of that.
I guess this is a win for Connor Johnson. In some ways, right now, our loyal Beavs fan. But man, like I said earlier this week, I know it's not really fair to the Beavers and Cougars fans, on what's happening to them. But at the end of the day, man, like hopefully this is the last trip Colorado makes to Pullman freaking ever. Good riddance. Whatever Pat McAfee's saying about these two teams, I agree with. And that might hurt some people's feelings, but I don't want the team to be traveling out there anymore, man. I just don't.
Right.
Too far.
Let me just say one more thing. I'm sorry, because this bothers me. I'm sorry, guys. This really bothers me, bro. A lot of people, because I read, I think it was Jungle Brother talking about billionaires leave for whatever that place may be. And I said this before, guys. This ain't nobody's fault but the Pac-12. They act like the Pac-12 commissioner was a dictator, and he said, we ain't taking this media deal. Bro, he works for the presidents. If the presidents wanted for him to take that deal, that original deal, he would have took that deal. Granted, I hear a lot of people blaming the Pac-12 commission. That ain't how it worked. The Pac-12 commission is exactly like the NFL commissioner. You work for the owners in the NFL. You work for the presidents in college football, right? They just give you the power to make the correct decision. You thought you was better than what you want. Second, and because I had the same argument with some Pac-12 people, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, second, bro. He was talking, it's about Mark. I said, no, it ain't. It's about, do you put a good product on the field? Oregon State, Washington State, all y'all had to do is put a good product on the field. People would have tuned into you. People tuning into you all now. Did nobody know who Colorado was? The most watched team in the Pac-12 in the whole country. That's y'all fault. Y'all didn't play good football. You didn't carry. It's Stanford's fault because they don't want to invest in college football. It's Cal's fault. They don't want to invest in college football. You see what I'm saying, bro? Hey, it's Oregon State fault. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Small market or whatever the case may be. Y'all need to go to Auburn, Alabama. Ain't nobody down there. It's your fault, right? Washington, that you didn't put your team in a position where Washington State, where everybody want to watch you. It's the conference fault because y'all didn't put people in the college football playoffs. That's your fault. That ain't nobody's fault but your own. You got to carry that bag. And now people want to sit there, want to give them that, you know what I'm saying, that college football EBT card. Listen, man, ain't nobody trying. No, bro, it don't go down like that, man. It don't go down like that. And then, bro, ain't up until they added Texas, those Texas schools. It were no big market schools in just SEC, but they play good football. People watch them. Yeah, Lenny, I'm a little fired up. I'm sorry. Because let me tell you what happens. This is what happens. Just like me and Laurence was talking about, what's going to happen is you're going to have some trash in the college football playoff when it should have been somebody else there for 2 years, but maybe 2 years, unless they fix it. And I'm tired of hearing people talk about it ain't Washington State fault. It ain't Oregon State. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It's 100% your fault. 100%. Put a better product on the field and people will watch you. It's simple as that. Let's be honest about it. Nah, they're blue blood. I get it. But let's be honest about it, guys. Have anybody been to Tallahassee? Have y'all been to Tallahassee?
Yeah.
Have y'all been, bro? Have y'all been to Alabama? Have y'all been to? I already mentioned Auburn. Y'all been to Auburn? Y'all been to Tuscaloosa?
I've been to Auburn. I've been to Tuscaloosa.
Bro, Auburn. Huh? You look one way, you look the other, and you spit. You out of this town.
Yeah, that's true.
What y'all talking about? You see what I'm saying? And you're splitting the eyeballs of a small state. That ain't no big state population-wise. They small. But they put a good product on the field. Thus, the SEC is where they are today. I'm sorry, Pac-12, that's your fault. That's 100% your fault, and own it. I'm sorry, I'm off on a soapbox now, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go that long, man. But it's crazy. People act like they want to forget about that. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I get it is NCAA. They shouldn't have did what they did to USC. I got it. That murdered that program. But other than that, Washington, you get an opportunity to play, look like a good team. Oregon, you get an opportunity to play, look like a good team. Don't beat TCU. But you are TCU. Bro, I'm sorry, man. It is what it is, man. I'm sorry, bro. My bad. No, man. I apologize. I went too long on that.
Sorry, Laurence. I'm
No,
sorry,
you didn't.
David.
It bothered you, so you had to let it. You had to
It
let
bothered me,
it fly.
bro. It bothered me, man. It bothers me. Because watch, y'all gonna see it. Just pay attention. It ain't Washington State fault. It ain't Oregon State fault. Man. All right, guys.
I'm just ready for that conference to go, man. I'm ready for it to be done. I'm glad it's done now, and I'm happy to be back in the new look Big 12 that hopefully the Buffs can dominate. But yeah, Rawhide, don't apologize. That's why I like doing shows with you, man. You just say it how it is, and now we can call you Connor Stallions.
Yeah, I know, man. I don't even know who that is, but hey, I feel you.
Oh,
I'll take it.
He's that secret agent for the Michigan Wolverines that ended up screwing the program.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You know what? Because I don't put much teeth. I think they screwing over Michigan. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I believe that. I think they screwing over Michigan. I ain't paid no attention to it because I think all that's BS.
So just today, Michigan was contesting the suspension, and they pretty much agreed to let to what the NCAA or the Big Ten ruled for Harbaugh to coach Monday through Friday and not coach the sidelines for the next 2 games. So he's not going to coach against Maryland. He's not going to coach against Ohio State. And they've agreed to end the investigation as a result. So they're pretty much sweeping it under the rug, sit him down for 3 games. He can coach the game. He can coach the team throughout the week. He just can't be on the sidelines for the next 2 games. That was agreed upon today.
I'm glad they're these comments are making me laugh. But I'm glad, they're moving on. They're just going to get through this the next 2 games. Hopefully, again, I don't like Ohio State, so I still hope that Michigan can just take care of business. But I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are on this. I know that I might be in the minority with this position, but it's like, man, nothing is stopping any fan from going and videotaping any sidelines or whatever. I understand having a staff member do it, how that's like kind of crossing the line when you're dressing up, sneaking onto sidelines of other teams that you don't even have association with. At that point, you just got to give them props, a little slap on the wrist, say you can't do that. But if you're not cheating, you're not trying, man. And I know that's a controversial thing to say, but I imagine that this stuff happens all throughout college football, and Michigan just got a little sloppy with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
That's a fair assessment. That pretty much sums it up.
I agree.
As a result of that sloppiness, we sit the Echoes down for 3 games. You can coach the team throughout the week, just can't be on the sideline.
Yeah, and I think because it wasn't a long suspension, it's because what Michigan was saying, we have evidence that all these other teams are doing it too. That's why.
Yep.
Right. Can I ask y'all a question, though? One question, man. One question. I know it ain't exactly the same. What percentage do you think that when you're on offense, the defense actually have a good idea of what you're about to run, and on the flip side, meaning this, right? If you're on defense, right, you're watching offense. How many times how often do you think they don't know you about to run the ball? I mean, don't you? When you agree that most of the time, most of the time you know when they're gonna run the ball, and
it's called scouting.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, so that's why I don't put a whole lot of stock in that, man. I'm just like, bro. Yeah. I said, bro, come on, bro.
You got to stop it. You still got to make.
Yeah, you got to stop it, bro. You got to.
That's true. That's true.
Man. All right, y'all. I think I'm gonna wrap some things up here, but appreciative of your time. I know we always go longer than what I say. You guys know that by now. But I mean, this was a heck of a lot of fun. I needed these laughs. As we get ready for the game tomorrow night. Y'all be sure to drink your energy drinks, have your coffee beforehand, especially y'all on the East Coast. I mean, Laurence, you're going to be up till like 2 a.m. watching this game, yeah?
Again, for like the 3rd or 4th time this season. So, and I'm not a night owl by any means. So it's going to be I'm definitely going to have to take a nap tomorrow evening to stay up there, watch the game in its entirety. But Yeah, I do plan on watching it and staying locked in. The only good thing about them playing on Friday, or the primary good thing about them playing on Friday, is that I'm able to watch and catch some of the playoff football here in the state of Michigan on Saturday. So Bryce Underwood is still playing. I think they're in the semifinals. They have a good important game coming up to get them one step closer to a third state title. So I am looking forward to that. But yeah, I do plan on watching the entire game tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern.
Oh my God, dude! This is why Pac-12 had to go.
Exactly.
Colorado better not be given these stupid time slots moving forward. I'm gonna lose my mind. We only have one Mountain Time noon kickoff, and that was last weekend.
Let's hope everything Rawhide said was for a reason, and that we can, and that's part of the exiting of the Pac-12. These the 10:30 Eastern time kickoffs. We don't have to worry about that in the Big 12 because we'll be one of the most Western located teams. I know Arizona State is still going to be there, but hopefully they still can work something out where they don't have to worry about these late start times. But we'll see.
Man, I got to give a shout out to Mitch B. Thanks for the fun commentary. I hope y'all win for your own mental health. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Mitch. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. Rod, I know, Laurence, you don't got your channel yet, but you should start one. But Rawhide, let the people know. Got any special videos coming up soon?
Yeah, I'll be on later tonight after the Baltimore and Cincinnati game, talking about it, and you know what I'm saying, and just let those who listen to me know I took an L on recruiting yesterday, so I don't have any shame in admitting that. But in
What'd you take
addition,
an L on?
oh man, it's just, bro, I ain't gonna bore you with it. Trust me, it was something that I said, and it didn't turn out 100% true. It was like 50% true. So. Oh, see, Bailey even concurred. My dog even concurred that, you know what I'm saying, those other folks was hating on me. You know what I mean? So
that was so funny.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. And you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And you know, Laurence, what I have noticed that is, see, if I had a voice like Laurence, they would think I'm less of a hater, even though I was more positive on Colorado today. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work on it, Laurence. I'm gonna work on it. It is what it is. I'm too country, bro. I was born in the sticks. It is what it is, man. So that's all I got. That's all I got, Dave.
Oh man, that's so funny. That's so funny. Well, yeah, hopefully we can do one of these roundtables again soon. I mean, we need to be celebrating when we get this 5th win, baby,
Sure.
and shove it in the faces of all the other five-win teams that we're going to be the one going bowling. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. So, guys, I appreciate the comments. The chat thread was lit tonight. Keep it up. It was awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all go tune in to Rawhide later tonight. And as always, go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Guys.